So 12.3c is an arithmetic series, which is slightly different from a sequence in that in a series we add all of the terms of the sequence. So we're going to look at a formula for the arithmetic series as well as something called sigma notation or a summation notation. So our vocab, arithmetic series, I mentioned, is a sum of terms in a sequence. If you take a look in green, we've got the formula for our arithmetic series. So let's just take a look at how this works with the example that I have here in red. So first of all, S sub n means the sum of the first n terms. In our example, we have 5 terms. So n is the number of terms, in this case 5. T sub 1 is your first term. T sub n is your last term. And we always divide by 2. So 1 plus 9 gives us 10, times 5 is 50. And 50 divided by 2 is 25, the sum that we got when we just added up the terms. At the bottom here we have the summation notation. The reason that it's called summation notation is because it's asking you to add all of the terms that you get when you substitute different numbers into the formula. And it will make a lot more sense when we actually see an example of that. So for now, just go ahead and jot down what the formula looks like, and we will explain that in a minute. All right, so first we're going to take a look at that summation notation that we just saw. So we've got these 4 terms. Our first term is 13, and our last term is 25. So the sum of the first 4 terms is 4 times the first term plus the last term, all over 2. So 13 plus 25 gives us 38. And what I would do is 4 divided by 2, because then I can do 2 times 38 without a calculator. So if you wanted to add up the numbers to check your answer, 13 plus 17 gives us 30, and 21 plus 25 gives us 46, and 30 plus 46 gives us 76, which is what we got from our formula. Our second example, we're being asked to find the sum of the first 25 terms, but we don't know what the 25th term is. So when we're identifying our pieces, n is 25, t sub 1 is 3, and t sub 25 is unknown. So what we have to do is use the explicit formula to find the 25th term. So remember the explicit formula is t sub 1 plus n times, d times n minus 1. So our first term is 3. Our common difference, what are we doing from 3 to 12? Adding 9. And that pattern continues. So 9 is our common difference, or a d. And then n is 25 because we're looking for the 25th term. So 3 plus 9 times 24 gives us 219. All right, so now we have all the pieces, so we can use our formula. So S sub 25 equals the number of terms times the first term plus the last term, all over 2. So at this point, I would just punch all of this into my calculator. And you don't have to worry about using too many parentheses because of the example I showed you on the last one. You could do 25 divided by 2 and then multiply by the 222, or you could do 222 divided by 2 and then multiply by 25. So as long as you've got parentheses around the 3 plus 219, if you don't do that in your head, then you should be fine just punching that into your calculator. All right, last example, we're going to take a look at how summation notation works. So if you notice, let's break down what this formula says. This says the first number you substitute in for k is 1, and you will substitute all of the integers into k until you get to 4. Once you have substituted 4 in for k, then you stop. So we will have 4 terms in our series, and the sigma, again, means sum. So we will add all 4 of those terms together. So when I substitute 1 in, I'm just going to call this t sub 1 our first term. 6 minus 2 gives us 4. When I substitute 2 in, 6 minus 8 is negative 2. When I substitute 3 in, 6 minus 6. Did I do something wrong? Yep, I sure did. Alright, so when I substitute 2 in, 6 minus 4 is positive 2. And then when I substitute 3 in, 6 minus 6 is 0. And then our last term, if I substitute 4 in, that's where I jumped to. That one would be negative 2. So there are two options. We can use the series formula, or we can just add them up. And as I look at these 4 terms, it would be much easier to me to just add them up, because the 2 plus negative 2 gives us 0, plus 0 plus 4 gives us a sum of 4.